Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Shirley, welcome. Good to meet you. I want to ask you about how DOGE and its overhaul of the federal government, which has driven thousands of experienced public servants out of service, either laid off or sidelined. I'm sure it's had a major effect on your agency. And we see in just about every bill before us here today a whole bunch of new things that would be asked of you and your colleagues at the Fish and Wildlife Service. Automatic approvals of permitting, tighter deadlines, major new administrative responsibilities. Now, your core mission is to protect fish and wildlife, to manage refuges, to do a whole bunch of things, but it is not to drop everything and do all of this new stuff so that some people can get maybe permits faster. So I want to just ask you, from the perspective of the Fish and Wildlife Service's current capacity, how do these legislative changes affect your ability to fulfill your actual conservation mission?
Thank you, Representative. That's a great question. I've been out here for 5 weeks so far, so pretty new to this, but you bring up mission, and that hits to the heart, right? The very first statement in the mission of the Fish and Wildlife Service is we do this with others. And then it goes on to say what it is, and then it says for the benefit of the American people. And as I look at some of what you mentioned of employees that have taken the fork in the road or have taken a deferred retirement option, I come from a place of state government where I always felt like we were pretty lean and mean, and having to figure out ways, new ways, innovative ways, new places we could use technology and to be able to further the mission of what we're trying to do. And I think with the service in particular, we're in a place that we have always needed our partners and will continue to need our partners. And that seems like a great place to be moving forward to me.
Do you have plenty of capacity to do all this new stuff, or does this put you in a bind?
Yeah, I think that what we're looking at is being able to streamline some of those processes, make them more effective, use technology to be able to help us through some of those processes, as well as getting the workforce in a place where we are communicating effectively with partners.
I don't want to talk about getting there. I want to ask about right now. I mean, you're reeling here from thousands and thousands of dedicated career staffers that have just left and they haven't been replaced. Do you have the capacity to do all the stuff these bills are asking you to do right now?
It's an interesting perspective because having not been there before and coming in 6 weeks ago and seeing the work that's being done on the ground, we're just working on mission critical situations that we can continue to get done and leaning on our partners and leaning in.
So you don't see a problem?
I think that moving forward, we're going to be in a much better place of how we're handling these kind of things.
Let's talk about the conservation standard reflected here. The sea otter is a good example, plays a crucial role as a keystone species in preventing kelp forest collapse in my district. The discussion draft before us would lower conservation goals from maintaining healthy, functioning populations to just bare survival. Just don't let it go extinct. Why does the Fish and Wildlife Service believe it's important to maintain sea otter populations at a more meaningful and more ecologically meaningful level than that, if that is, in fact, your view? My assumption is that you think we need to do better because you're in charge of the Fish and Wildlife Service of the United States. So I would hope that's your position, but I want to ask you.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Again, all the discussion with MMPA has been enlightening to me, for sure, coming from a very desert state and being able to really dive in and look at this situation and everything that we're dealing with. And the streamlining of processes that you see in there, I think that it sounds like from what
This isn't about process, this is about the conservation standard. This is, are we managing the sea otter to just sort of keep it alive and not go extinct, or are we managing to a more meaningful ecological standard?
Yeah,
it's a policy question.
Sure, I believe that we are always working towards having the strongest, most robust populations and stocks, if you will, of marine mammals.
So will you agree with me at least that lowering that standard to minimal triage is a bad thing for the mission of your agency?
I think when you mention minimal standard, I think that most of what we have tried to deal with is that we want to get in a place where our partners, everyone just loves sea otter populations, and we're willing to work to make sure they're successful.
Doesn't really answer my
Gentleman's
question.
time has expired. Mr. Webster.